Both the Patriots and Seahawks were 60-1 to win the Super Bowl entering the season, and they are the biggest long shots to win their conferences since the 2021 Bengals. This is the first Super Bowl in over 50 years between two teams that entered the season at least 60-1 odds to win the Super Bowl. And so now as we reflect back on this run that both these teams have been on, I mean, my goodness, think about the Patriots last year. They only have 4 wins, only Sam Darnold's first year with the Seahawks. Whose run has been more impressive? Is it the Seahawks or the Patriots? Doggy, what do you think?
Well, number one, look at Vegas beginning of the year. The Patriots over-under was 8.5 and Seattle was 9.5. So Vegas knew the schedule of New England, Vrabel sitting there, and the development of May, that the Patriots had a chance to be a pretty good team. Now, listen, I think Seattle, much more impressive. The Patriots' schedule, I know they hate hearing about it. They're going to use it as fodder next week. I guarantee it. Vrabel's not stupid. They use it as bulletin board material, but their schedule was a joke. They played nobody any good. They played a couple of playoff teams. They played Buffalo a couple of times. They did very little as far as the postseason is concerned. And then throw in the idea that they beat the Chargers, who never win playoff games with Herbert and had a banged-up offensive line. They beat Houston, who Stroud threw them 4 balls in the first half alone. And then they beat Denver and a backup quarterback in a snowstorm. So to me, New England, not going to take anything away from them, but you ask me a question of which is more impressive, to me it's much more Seattle. Much harder division. Obviously, we didn't know about Sam Darnold, how to get through San Francisco, played him 3 times. How to get through the Rams, they played him 3 times. The NFC West, far superior to the AFC East. The NFC overall is much more superior than the AFC was this year. Much better teams, as evidenced by the point spread at the next week in San Francisco. To me, as a sports fan, Seattle with Darnold, we didn't quite know what to expect. Young coach, we didn't quite know what to expect. And a much harder conference, I think they're more impressive than what the Patriots did.
Swag?
I'm going New England, and Mad Dog makes some great points. I think the difficulty of the road should matter, but I look at just where the Patriots were, and in a season, we see where they are now. The New England Patriots were in the abyss. The Bill Belichick saga ended badly. They had been revolving around quarterbacks. They had been trying to figure out who the coach was going to be. They hired Jerome Mayo, fired him, brought in Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel does a phenomenal job, but this team still wasn't expected, like Seattle, to be where they are now. And I get the road. I understand the playoffs and getting there, but dog, it's 3 hours on any given day in the playoffs. You can lose a game, and somehow, in some way, they managed to find themselves in the Super Bowl. You think about this team before the season. They had to make a number of moves to improve the football team from a personnel standpoint. I said on this show with Stephen A. talking about New England doesn't have any wide receivers. They need to figure out the offensive line. We don't know who the quarterback is. We are not far removed from that. Seattle had been building this thing. This defense was really good last year as well. They performed at a level in which people thought was respectable. We had no idea that we would be sitting here with the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl this year. That weighs into my mind heavily, especially in the division. I know things work out the way they work out, but we had this conversation all season long, and nobody ever wanted to acknowledge that the New England Patriots was one of those teams that was either top 5 or getting to the point where they were going to be in the Super Bowl. Because we talked about, well, the Chiefs, I know they down, but don't count them out. We talked about Lamar Jackson and Baltimore started making a run. Talked about how important this run was for Josh Allen. We thought Buffalo had the best opportunity, and this was the window for Josh Allen to be in the Super Bowl. All of those things considered, the New England Patriots end up in the Super Bowl with Mike Vrabel back his first year, young quarterback in his second year in the NFL, who may be the league MVP. Stephon Diggs, who was cast off from the Buffalo Bills, emerged as a hell of a playmaker for this team. Defensively, all of the things that they've been able to do. It's just more impressive because they had to build almost from scratch to find themselves where they are now playing for a Super Bowl.
I hear where you're coming from, Swagoo. I don't deny that, but I'm going to agree with Doggy on this. And I'd be remiss in neglecting to give my man Jason McCourty, credit. Because he came on my radio show, the Stephen A. Smith Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, every weekday from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He came on my show yesterday, and he reminded me about something that I hadn't thought about at all, Swagoo. And you know what that was? What the Patriots spent in the offseason after Vrabel arrived.
Yeah.
You get rid of Gerard Mayo, but you also go out and you spend, at the start of free agency, over $280 million. Mm-hmm. You ended up spending about $370 million. And so we can't look at it and be like, well, Gerard Mayo left, Mike Vrabel came in, and that's all. And Drake May, and look what has happened. They got a bunch of veterans. They spent a boatload of money. They had about 100, they had some money with cap space, and they spent a boatload of money in that regard, right? I think it was about $129 million in initial cap space that they had. So you did all of that, right? I'm looking at it from that standpoint. I'm like, okay, props to you, but that's not the same as Seattle. We got to look at it, and you got to look at this guy, Snyder, the general manager in Seattle, right? Let's look at him. Do y'all understand that Pete Carroll was just let go 2 years ago? It wasn't like it was 5 years ago. It was 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Last year was Mike Macdonald's first year. You pluck him from the Baltimore Ravens. His first year, they're 10-7. They didn't make the playoffs last year. They're 10-7. It wasn't like they were 5-5-12 or something. They were 10-7. Okay? And this year, your second year, you're going to the Super Bowl. Who's leading you to the Super Bowl? It ain't just an all-world defense because you were a defensive coordinator and you bring that same signature to Seattle, and they got monsters on the defensive side of the ball. You got Marcus Lawrence from the Dallas Cowboys. He was the Dallas Cowboys for the previous 11 years, right? Mm-hmm. Okay? His first year out of Dallas, he in the Super Bowl. See what happens to you when you leave? Well, this is what happens when you leave Dallas, okay? You go to the Super Bowl. That's what happened, okay? So he's in the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold, yeah, he was 14-2 before he nosedived in the season finale against Detroit and then in the playoffs against the Rams. What do? You get him. And not only do you get him on a 3-year, $100 million deal, about $33 million per year, and bench essentially working him 1 year at a time. Let's see what he does or whatever. The brother leads you to the Super Bowl. He's an MVP candidate. And he outduels the eminent league MVP and Matthew Stafford along the way. And LA was their kryptonite. And against everyone outside of LA, the brother is 29-4 over the last 2 years. I'm just looking at it and I'm saying this GM deserves a whole bunch of credit because he moved on from Pete Carroll after moving on from Russell Wilson. You bring in Macdonald, right? You get a defense going. You get a quarterback in Sam Darnold. You can run the ball. In Jigba, we didn't know this dude 2 years ago. This brother's all world. Cooper Kupp has been resurrected. Bobo, we never heard that name before. He catching touchdown passes in NFC championship games now. You're just looking at this and you're saying, wait a damn minute. This is a great, great story going on in Seattle. I would have to say that, yes, New England, major props to them. But the easiest schedule since 1999, this exorbitant spending that you engaged in, okay? The combination of those two things facilitated you, and then you look at the playoffs, Chargers, you're hobbled, your offensive line is decimated. Houston's offense was never much to brag about, and then a blizzard came in, a la Tuck rule from 20 plus years ago and stuff, and it's a reincarnation of all of that. All of those things happen for the New England Patriots. Talk about divine intervention, all the dominoes falling right way. That's what happened for them. That is not the case with the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks are clearly the better story right now, no doubt in my mind.
I do tend to agree with that. I mean, the turnaround in New England is fabulous, but if you put up that New England schedule, which I don't think we have time to do, almost every team they played this year has fired their coach outside of the Bengals and the Jets or a team from the NFC.
Y'all, this is the NFL, y'all. It's the NFL.
I will say this to you. I mean,
NFL,
the fact that you get to play the
Won
Jets,
the Super Bowl.
The fact that you get to play the Jets twice and the Miami Dolphins in sub 40-degree temperatures is automatically 3 wins.
There you go.
I'm just saying.
The schedule does them